Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Now today we're going to be doing something on a 3000 GT that you really haven't seen very much on the channel for like a couple years. But yes, we still do have it, but it's just kind of been on the back burner since I picked up the Corvette and the Mustang and started doing some bike stuff. But anyway, I want to start daily driving this car again. I don't want to put miles on the truck I just got. The Mustang I put like 10,000 miles on it since October. The Vet, well, it's been kind of a project since I bought it. But anyway, I enjoy driving the 3000 GT, so I'm going to kind of get it ready and start daily driving it again. One of the biggest problems, if you watch some of the old videos, was the headlights. The headlights were absolutely terrible. So the previous owner actually kind of taped up the circles, just kind of painted the headlights black. Over the years, it just broke down, looked horrible. I have to do something about that, and I have on one of my headlights. So I actually took some brake cleaner. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but I actually diluted it down with a little bit of water on a rag and actually wiped all of that old paint off, and it actually took it off and didn't hurt the lens at all. Now, do I recommend that? No. Could it hurt your headlight? Probably, but it didn't hurt mine. If it did, it didn't really show up. Now, one of my headlights does have some damage to it, so the one I'm going to show you first that I've already completed, it had damage that I just couldn't get out. It is, once I show you the other one, you'll understand completely that the new one looks 100 times better. So this is the passenger headlight after I got all of that black paint off, and he had black paint on these as well, and it was actually the nice chrome side markers. Those cleaned up very well. This is what we're dealing with. I mean, there is little to no light output coming out of these. I drove it the other day and literally you couldn't see the road. I mean, it was pretty much like driving at night because both headlights looked exactly like that. It has this yellow film all over it. I mean, you can't really scrape it off with your finger or anything. I mean, it is embedded into the lens. Now, I was going to just drop a couple $100s and get new headlights, but I thought, let me try this. I'm learning paint correction, and I know that you can do similar stuff with paint correction on some like acrylic lenses or like the clear lenses that you can do on paint. It's exactly what I did. I figured I'm going to probably replace them anyway if they don't clean up, so it was kind of like a win-win. It came out good, then I saved a couple $100. If not, I get new headlights. So it was a win-win. So this is what the driver's side looked like after I completed it. Now, if you look, that is night and day difference from that to this. This damage here was on the headlight, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not get that out. But you can actually see all the way back into both projectors, and the light output has actually returned. That's the passenger side, that's the driver's side. So in this video, I'm going to give you step by step exactly what I did and what worked for me to turn that passenger headlight into what the driver's side looks like. So I'm going to go ahead, pop you all on a tripod, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it's actually kind of a tedious process. I speed up every clip, I will tell you exactly what I'm doing. So let's get started. All right, guys, so step one that I did, I've got a 400 grit wet sanding block, and I have just some Dawn dishwashing soap mixed with some water in here that I use to kind of lubricate the headlight as I'm wet sanding. I take this very light. I do not put a lot of pressure on this, and this is just to get rid of the top layer of the yellow. And as you can see, it's starting to come off, but you don't want to go real heavy with this 400 grit. Ideally, you could do 600 or 800 grit, but this is all I had. So I've just been going really, really light just to get off that top layer. So already after the first pass with that 400, you can kind of see that it has cleared up a little bit, but it does leave it a little bit hazy. But don't get too alarmed at that because that's kind of what we want. Now for step two, ideally, like I said, you want to kind of start with a 600 or 800 grit. All I had was 4, so I just took it really light. The second one, I have a combination 1000 grit and 1500 grit wet sanding sponge. So we're going to do 1000 grit next, and we can go a little bit more aggressive with the pressure on it. So as you can see, after the really light 400 grit and then hitting it with 1000 grit, it has cleared up tremendously as far as color goes. Now, it's not as white as this, and I don't know if they painted this with the same pearl paint that they painted this. We'll get it close, and these steps you can repeat after you do all these steps. You can repeat them over until you get your desired result. Just like I said, beware, especially with the last couple steps that I'll tell you once we get there. It's very easy to damage these. Follow these instructions at your own risk because I'm not responsible if you mess your headlights up. We're going to flip this sponge over, and we're going to go with the 1500 grit and do the exact same thing. Alright guys, it's actually the next day. One of my buddies actually showed up while I was filming yesterday, and you know how it is when one of your buddies comes over. We ended up standing outside talking for like 3 hours. It got dark on me, so far we have started off with a very light 400 grit wet. No pressure on the sponge at all, just enough to kind of take off that real thick top layer. Following that, we hit it with 1000 grit, we hit it with 1500 grit wet. Now we're going to finish it off with 2000 grit wet. Now for this, I just take a piece of 2000 grit, wrap it around my 1500 grit sponge, just to make sure that none of the rougher grits come in contact with the headlight, but this just makes it a little bit easier. So this is 2000 wet. So now after 2000, you kind of see that it's already kind of starting to clear up. Now you can go higher. You can do 2500, 3000. The more you do, obviously, the clearer it's going to get. But I found out 2000 is pretty good, especially for when we do the compounding and polishing, which are the next steps. I'm going to use Meguiar's Ultimate Compound on a blue buffing pad. Obviously, the smaller buffer would do better on this, but I only have the 7-inch. So I'm going to change pads from the black to the blue, put on some compound, hit this with a couple passes. Now with this part, you have to be careful because you will burn through, especially using a rotary polisher. If you have a DA, it's a little bit of a safer option, but I don't have a DA, so we're going to use this rotary. But keep the speed low, keep the passes fast, and don't heat up this lens too much or you will burn through it. Like I said, I'm not responsible if you mess up your headlight. I'm just showing you what I do that works, so let's get started. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like after the compound on the blue pad. You can already see that it took out a lot of the scratches. We still want to hit it with the polish just to get rid of those really fine scratches and just to kind of overall polish this thing out. Like I said, it is hard with that bigger buffer to get into these corners, so if you have the smaller 3-inch, it'll do a whole lot better. We're going to do what we can with what we have. This is just what I said works for me. So next we're going to get the black pad on the polisher. We're going to put the Mother's Ultimate polish on it and hit it with a quick pass. Alright guys, here is the last step in the process. Well, second to last technically. This is Meguiar's Ultimate Polish on a black pad. And there we go guys, that is the last, well, second to last step. That was the polish. As you can see, it got most of the scratches out. It is a world of difference from what it was, and you can actually even see the projector beams back in the headlights. So the last step you want to do that I won't show is you need to put a coat of wax or sealant on top of this, just because with the wet sand and everything, you have taken every bit of protection off of this headlight. So you'll want to put some kind of wax or coating of some sort over top of it just to protect it. But world of difference, as you can see. So guys, that's going to be it for this upload. Had to come into the other garage just because it was so daggone hot outside. But excuse my voice, woke up this morning, my allergies been killing me, got itchy, watery eyes, all of that, and it's horrible. I guess it's just par for the course for this time of year. To recap, we started with a very light, wet 400 grit. Like I said, you can start with 600 or 800 if you want, but that was just to get that top yellow layer off. Then we did wet 1000, wet 1500, wet 2000. Then we did Mother's Ultimate Compound on a blue pad, very light. I think the rotary speed was like 2.5. And then we did Mother's Ultimate Polish on the rotary on a black pad at about 2.5 as well. Like I said, I'm not responsible if you mess your headlight up. This is just what I did to make mine look better, and as you can see, they look tons better. So if this video helped you, if you like the 3000 GT content or you like any content that I do, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys as always on the next video.